My mower only runs if you keep pushing the primer. Is there a fuel filter or is the carburetor stuck?
The problem is that the carburetor is restricted or plugged and needs to be cleaned and rebuilt with a complete carburetor repair kit. Here is my comprehensive carburetor and fuel answer that may give you some ideas. As engines sit or get older, fuel that is left in the carburetor can turn to gum and varnish and cause this and other problems. Also, any gasoline that was left in a gas can for a period of more than 30 days must be discarded because it also has begun to turn to varnish. Today's gasolines contain MTBE and alcohol. Ethanol, they turn to junk and garbage very quickly. Alcohol is partially water, H2O. And they call it oxygenated fuels. It is the oxygen that breaks down the organic compounds in the fuel and turns the gas to garbage, gum and varnish. The fuels we had just a few years ago had no alcohol in it and would store for longer periods of time before going stale. And fuel stabilizers do almost nothing to prevent the fuel from going bad with the changes in today's fuels. Do not buy gas from the discount stations. The discount stations get a reduced price on gas because they may be buying fuel that is nearly 30 days old already. You may be getting fuel that's nearly stale right from the pump when buying from a discount station. Purchase your fuel from the well-known stations such as Shell, BP, Sunoco, Phillips 66, etc. More than 70% of all of our repairs in our lawn mower business are due to this same issue. You most likely have dirt, gum, varnish, etc. in your carburetor plugging up the small passageways and jets in the carburetor. The carburetor must be removed from the engine. Clean all parts with carburetor cleaner and blow out all the small holes and passageways with compressed air. Remove all of the non-metallic parts since the carburetor cleaner will cause them to be disfigured, decompose, and plug the carburetor as time goes on. Wash the carburetor cleaner off of the metal parts by washing them in warm, soapy water, then rinsing with clean water. Dry them by blowing it off with compressed air. Make sure that all the passageways are blown dry before reassembling. Reassemble using a new carburetor rebuild kit. Do not try to reassemble without using a complete carburetor kit. You will just end up having to do the job again. Always clean the fuel tank and replace the fuel line when doing this repair, or you may have to do it all over again. The inside of the fuel line disintegrates over time and these small pieces of rubber will plug up the carburetor too. Dirt and water from a dirty fuel tank will also plug up the carburetor. Find the model, type and serial or code numbers off of the engine and take them to your local dealer to get the carburetor repair kit. If you do the work yourself, take pictures or at least make a drawing of where all the linkages, gaskets, and component parts go. Correct reassembly is critical. If the carburetor still doesn't work correctly, you may have to take it to someone who has an ultrasonic cleaning machine. This machine uses carb cleaner and ultrasonic vibrations to get the very small passageways clean when traditional methods fail. If you don't feel comfortable with this kind of repair, I would suggest sending it to a reputable shop.
The mower is new last year and I use premium every time and it ran fine last time and it ran out of gas. I have put in new air filter, good gas and new plug, so I think your answer is wrong.
You can think I'm wrong if you like, but my 36 years of experience tells me that you have a restricted carburetor. The dirt can come from just about anywhere. It can come from the gas, or dirt that has entered the gas tank and gotten into the carburetor. It only takes one small piece of dirt to get stuck in any of the very small passageways in the carburetor to cause this problem. And yes, it can run fine 1 minute and then not run right the next. There can be no other explanation for this problem. You can also check to see if I am right by putting a small amount of fuel into the carburetor where the air filters attaches. You will have to remove the air filter first. After putting the fuel in the carburetor, try to start the engine. One of two things will happen. Either it will run for a short time and then shut off, just like it does when you stop priming it, or it will start and keep running. Sometimes when you put fuel in the carburetor, it will run long enough for the engine to pull the dirt out of the passageway. This does not usually happen, but it does sometimes. Most likely it will run a few seconds and die. This will tell you that you are not getting enough gas. The carburetor must then be cleaned. You must make sure that all of the small holes are cleaned out. Most of these engines use a carburetor bowl type carburetor, and there is a small hole in the center of the bowl nut that must be cleaned. Sometimes the little hole is on the side of the bowl nut. The nut that holds on the carburetor bowl has several small holes in it. Some are on the sides and one may be in the end. In order to completely clean the carburetor correctly, you must clean these holes with a tag wire or a jet drill. If a jet drill is used, do not use a drill that is bigger than the hole or the engine will run too rich. View full image. View full image. A few of the other engines have the carburetor mounted directly on top of the gas tank. If this is the case, then the problem is the diaphragm that is between the tank and the carburetor. I am including this because you did not give me a model and type number of the engine so I could find out exactly which carburetor you have. In any case, the problem is in the carburetor. 40,353.192930787.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.